Somebody's sunbathing. Good morning. Let's get all the doors opened up. We got some sunshine today. Makes working a lot easier. We're gonna jump right into it. Last night I tore apart this old dryer. Somebody tried to repair it, couldn't quite figure it out. Turns out the child lock here is bad, so we'll have to get that swapped out. They also took off a couple parts here. This sensor is missing. It's also missing one of the bolts for the connection screws. I do have the back panel here, but I don't have the back panel for the head unit. I should have some extra ones, so let's see what we can do with this thing. Before we start piecing it back together, we're gonna get it cleaned out thoroughly. I'm gonna start off by removing this exhaust. It's just got 4 screws. This thing is not in bad shape. It's actually pretty clean in here. Having a clean exhaust is very important. So if I'm gonna go ahead and repair the machine, I might as well clean up everything. The element and all the other sensors are reading continuity, but I'm still gonna take it off and take a look at it just to make sure. A little bit of buildup in here. Even though the inside of the machine is clean, doesn't mean the exhaust is clean. We're gonna need to get this cleaned out before we get this thing running. There is some stuff in here. We'll blow that out with the compressor. Same with the exhaust housing. We'll get this big pile of lint cleaned up. X marks the spot. Must be some treasure over there. Phase 1 of the repair is complete. Got the body cleaned out. Went ahead and cleaned up the carpet felt on the front end. Exhaust is good to go. And I got the carpet felt on the back end of the drum cleaned up. Next thing to do, we're gonna take these wheels off, clean them up, re-grease them, and then start piecing it back together and find the missing parts. Hook this machine up to run a final cycle before I clean it up. I've already ran 2 test cycles on it. Seems to be working good, but we're gonna test it one more time. Hooked up this Maytag washer. It came in on yesterday's load. Put it on a quick drain and spin cycle. It was missing a drain tube, so I found one of those. I'm not sure what's going on with it, but there's only one way to find out. The wheels removed. We're gonna go through, take them apart, clean up the shaft and the inside of the wheels, re-grease them a bit. With this model tensioner, there's no wheel. We're just gonna wipe it down and make sure it's nice and smooth. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on it, put it all back together. This little plastic triangle is what holds the wheel in place. And then we'll just put the bolt and the washers back as well. Went ahead and replaced the child lock. You can hear it's clicking now. This is the old one. It's broken, all flimsy, no good. Let's start putting this thing back together. Gotta make sure this carpet felt goes in place like it should. There we go. Now we gotta put the front end on. You can go ahead and tilt it back so the drum isn't sagging down. The front end installed. Got 3 new connection screws and a new connection bolt. Found a cord for it. I also went ahead and installed the exhaust, found a new thermostat for it, took a look at the heating element, it's good to go. Last thing to do, I went ahead and disconnected the positive here. This bolt slides into a little groove back here. And then once I reinstall this, the connection screw goes through this hole and through that bolt. That way it's on there nice and tight. Let's get this done and then we'll get it tested. We got all the connections installed. Cord is hooked up. Everything's nice and secure. Let's plug it in and we're gonna see how it works. So we're gonna set it on a short little time dry and push to start. So far so good, spinning nice and smooth. We're gonna make sure the timer is cycling through like it should. Make sure it's producing good heat. Another good check, let's make sure the child lock's working. Cuts the dryer off, it's already producing some heat. Let's let it finish out this cycle and then we'll finish putting it back together, install the lint trap, wipe it down a bit, and that'll be another one complete. This Maytag washer finished out its first cycle with no problem, so I threw some clothes in it. We're getting ready to test it again. This thing was running with no problems. I had it set at 30 minutes and it stopped at 20 minutes. So I ran it back and started it at 30 again and it stopped again at 20 minutes. I'm thinking it might be a timer issue here, so we'll need to get it swapped out. Thankfully, I was able to find one pretty quick. So let's put it in place and test it again. So far, so good. This is the original timer. We're gonna disconnect one wire at a time and connect it to the new one. There's only one way to figure out if it's gonna work. Out with the old, in with the new. I got all the connections on there nice and snug. Let's get it tested. Got it set on another 30-minute cycle. Let's hit start and we'll see if it cycles through. He's in the final spin cycle. It's completed the whole cycle with no issues, so we're gonna test it again and make sure everything's working. The timer swap seems to have solved the issue. It has reached past the 20-minute marker. We're gonna let it finish out this cycle, make sure it cuts off. I'm gonna free up some space in the shop. I've been holding on to this old school washer. It's got a busted outer drum. I don't have one, and I'm not gonna hold on to it anymore. I went ahead and ripped the wires off of it, took a couple parts off. Next up, we're gonna set it on its back. We're gonna disconnect this water pump. We're gonna take the motor off, take the transmission off, keep any of the springs that are still good, and we're gonna scrap out the rest. It's official. We got this old dryer back up and running. I still gotta reinstall the back panel, which I have, and I gotta find the back panel for the head unit, and then we'll get it cleaned up and tested one more time. Got the motor removed the pump. I went ahead and threw the pump away because it was leaking. I could tell the seal had went bad, so no point in keeping it. Plus, they're pretty cheap. I keep them on standby. Had to remove the agitator off the transmission shaft in order to get it pulled out. It's got 3 bolts down here. Should pull right on out. There it goes. Nice and easy. We'll keep this thing. I always need them. We'll also probably take off some pieces here to the clutch, but other than that, not much. The last item we're gonna salvage off of this is gonna be the inner drum, because I do need them sometimes. You gotta use this special tool to get this bolt off. You don't have to, but it's the easiest way, trust me. Then I take the mallet, see if we can do it with one hand. There it goes. Nice and easy, loosen it up. Now we should be able to yank this drum out of here. Give it a couple whacks with the mallet to loosen up any of the sediment or built up rust in there. Then we should be able to yank it right on out of here. This one came out pretty easy. They don't all come out that easy. We're also gonna keep, if we can get it disconnected. There it goes. We're gonna keep this. This sits on top of the shaft and it connects the drum to the shaft without touching the outer drum. Let's get this junk taken out. My love has been in the same spot damn near all day. My dad's been over here working on his truck, changing the oil out. It was due for an oil change. Maintenance is key. Dad also did some maintenance on the Zeter. Keep this old thing up and running. Checking in on the sheep real quick. Looks like most of them are in there munching on some hay. The goat's wandering around. Up to no good. I was wondering where this guy has been. Down here hanging out with my mom, huh? She must be feeding you. And Miss Emma, like always, she's a porch dog. My dad's making his way back down the hill. Yes, sir. So, after my dad got done working with the tractor, I kind of left all the tools here. So I'm going to get some of them taken back to the shop. Grab these 2 boxes. Before I even start putting them where they need to go, let's run our sprints for tonight. I brought my running shoes out here. Yesterday I had to run my sprints in the boots, and that is not an easy feat because these things are damn heavy. Just got our sprints ran, taking off the old running shoes, getting back into uniform, getting the boots on. It's only about just shy of 6 o'clock out here, so we got some more time in the day. We're gonna get back in the shop, try to get some other items finished up tonight. We'll keep these bad boys in here, let the steam cool off on them. We're gonna start the cleanup process. Put everything back in its rightful spot. Oil filter remover. My pliers, we'll get them wiped down. There's still oil on them. Some more loose wrenches. They go here. And some more loose sizes. That way when we need them, we know where they're at. These are some more wrenches. Got a set of them. think they're metric here. Hey. Let's close up shop for tonight. We got pretty much all the tools put away. We'll pick up where we left off tomorrow.